And welcome into the MLB Hot Stove Daily here at the Upside Sports Network. If you're new here, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. We're going to be live for quite a few hours today. We're going to do our evening live as well at 9:45-ish, so be sure to hit that like and subscribe. And on trade deadline day, we'll be live all day long, 8 o'clock in the morning through the deadline till about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. We're going to catch every single one of these trades as they happen today. I'm expecting a busy day after the Hall of Fame ceremony and the festivities afterward kind of wrap up. Let those guys have their day in the sun. Games are already ongoing, and as we get to the conclusion of the first round of games, around 3 o'clock or so is when I'm expecting some of the bigger news to begin to trickle out. That's usually what happens on the Sunday before the trade deadline, so get ready, buckle in. It's going to be quite the day of news around the trade deadline. If you guys are new here, like I said, hit that like, subscribe, follow us on X at UpsideSN, and on Facebook, Upside Sports Network. We'll be live every single evening up until the trade deadline and after the trade deadline around 9:45, 10 o'clock as well, bringing you the latest from the trade deadline. But appreciate you guys joining us. Willard, Nick, Texan, welcome in. Strap in. It's going to be a busy one today. Astros are done. No fight, no desire. Win, it's a joke. Well, don't be so hard on your team, Willard. You were pumping up their chest all day, or all season long. Now's not the time to abandon them. They're still 5 up on the Rangers, 4.5 up on the Mariners, but they've certainly had a nice, a tough 3-game stretch against the A's. Before that, they were playing great baseball when they weren't expected to. Remember, Paredes goes down due to injury, and they played pretty well against a struggling Diamondbacks team. That was just 3 days ago. So let's not say woe is me yet, my friend. You still got a long baseball season to go. Nick, Mets need to go trade for Mullins at the deadline in 2025 and starting pitcher. Let's go Mets and bullpen help. Nick, I do agree that bullpen is still their number one priority even after making the trade for Gregory Soto. To me, the biggest need for them still is a number one starter. Going into the season, they were expected to still need another guy to, tag team with Senga at the top of that rotation, and they've gotten some really nice performances from some unexpected guys. Peterson's had a really great year for them. They were expected to have better years out of Montas and Minaya, but injuries kind of short-circuited that. But even with a solid pitching performance from Peterson this year, they still need another number one, a guy who can take the ball in Game 1 of a World Series, Game 2 of a World Series, because right now I'm not sure they have enough pitching in that rotation. Now, as far as a center fielder, I could see them going for an outfield bat. Center field probably is the easiest spot to fit him in right now. Center field, I think you're looking Mullins, Robert. I think those are probably the two most likely names. But don't sleep on guys like Ramon Laureano, who also has played some center field in the past. Not sure he could still handle it at this point, but I think he'd be a better defender than Cedric Mullins, who, while he is fast, his arm is nothing. It's a wet noodle out there. So putting him in center does leave you a little bit of a liability out there defensively in some respects. Texan, half of the players on the field are scrubs who were cut from another team, 18 injuries, and can do that to a team. They either make a trade or it's going to be a tough 2-3 weeks until help starts arriving. As far as the Astros, I kind of agree with you there. They have a lot of injuries, but they are getting some reinforcements relatively soon, especially on the pitching side. Arrighetti isn't far away. Javier isn't very far away. Now, as far as the offensive side of things, that's where things get a little bit murkier. When exactly will Alvarez be back? Pena, Paredes, how big of an injury did he really suffer? Is he going to be out a month and a half, 2 months? Does he miss the rest of the season? All of those are viable questions right now for the Astros and on the injury front. Ethan, Jake Ferguson, massive overpay, 4 for 52. I'm tired of the Cowboys only paying their own players. Would love a $52 million free agent for once in my life. Well, again, it's not exactly a fully guaranteed deal. I haven't looked at the exact terms, but the way football contracts are basically structured, the first 2 years are essentially guaranteed. But, so basically you're looking 2 years at, $22, $24 million for Ferguson. The final 2 years are not guaranteed at bloated numbers to make the number look a lot bigger for the free agent. That's essentially what this deal boils down to. Ferguson was in a prove-it type of a year anyway. The Cowboys get kind of some certainty going into next offseason more than anything else. Verlis, I'm glad you dropped that info about the trade behavior the Sunday before the deadline. Thank you, my friend. I do try to stay up on these things, but we've been doing this trade deadline thing for 4 years live here at the Upside, so I try to remember year to year which days have trading action. Usually can't. Well, that's part of the thing, Some years are more active than others. I'm not saying this year will have bigger trades because I think there's less top-end talent on the market. I don't think we're going to see a trade like Max Scherzer at the top of his powers, something like that. But, $30 million, that sounds about right. Basically the first 2 years guaranteed and then kind of a top off. But still, $30 million in today's NFL is almost next to nothing. Watching the Rangers game on one screen, got the scores on another. We're going to keep you guys updated all day long on the action on the field, the trade rumors off the field. We're going to make some trades today as well. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Doing their Bochy interview before the game on Victory Plus right now. All right, before we get into the actual trades of the day, let's see what we got to look forward to as far as the games themselves. Zach Gallen, kind of his final start for the Diamondbacks before I imagine he's going to be traded here at the deadline. Has only given up 1 run so far in 2+ innings against the against the Pirates there. Scherzer going up against the Tigers, going up against his former team. Hopefully he can get that ERA underneath 4.5 by the end of the day. It's got a tough situation though, second and third with only 1 out in the bottom of the third there. Tigers really need to win that game to kind of stop their free fall right now. The Rays we talked about it last night. They've kind of waved the white flag on their season. They will be they will be a seller here at the deadline. They've announced 2 teams that Diaz is one of the names they'll consider. Brendan Lau is another one. Little is another one, and Rasmussen, as far as the controllable starting pitchers, might be the one guy they'd be willing to part with. So keep your eyes peeled on the Rays being active in rumors today. Orioles losing right now to the Rockies. Mullins, one of the names that should be available at the deadline. O'Hearn. Phillies take a 2-0 lead against the Yankees. If the Yankees get swept here, there's a good chance they're on the outside of the playoff picture looking in by as soon as Tuesday. Twins losing against Washington 1-0. Game just underway. Dodgers and Red Sox, 0-0 so far. With Walker Buehler facing his former club. Guardians-Royals, 0-0 so far. Bobby Witt at the plate anyway. Guardians hoping to make a nice push here. So are the Royals. A little bit surprised that the Royals are choosing to push the chips forward here. As small chips as they are, but they certainly are pushing their chips in. Bad news, though, for the Royals is that Dbacks has gone on the 15-day IL with left shoulder discomfort. Not exactly what you want to hear as you're heading into the trade deadline. You made a small acquisition bringing in Adam Frazier from the Pirates. Another small one last night bringing in Randall Grichuk from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And now you lose your probably number 1, number 2 starter, depending on the day. A's already up 2-0 against Houston. Yikes. Again, getting the start there. Can't remember if he's an opener or if he's an actual starter, though. Cubs 2-1 now against the White Sox. Brewers losing again. Marlins are just playing really well as they just have an error behind Yuri Perez, their best starter. They lead 1-0 early in the first. Padres 2-0 so far against the Cardinals. Mariners, Angels later on this afternoon, and then Mets, Giants in the nightcap. Welcome in heel, Aaron. Appreciate you joining us. Michael, as a Rangers fan, if the Rangers makes the playoffs, which AL rotation do you think the Rangers would struggle against in the playoffs? Offensively for this lineup, I'd say somebody who has really good lefties in their lineup as of now. They're playing well, pretty well over the last few games against lefties, but they've struggled on the whole against them. I would probably lean maybe the Yankees, just because playing in New York, they got swept in New York already. But if you're countering with DeGrom and Eovaldi, I think that would be a different series anyway. Cowboys haven't signed a free agent to over $30 million since Brendan Carr in 2012. True. Like I said, it doesn't surprise me if you know the Astros, they struggle against the A's. Well, I mean, look at the A's. Was it Kurtz again? I'm kind of curious to see. Was it Kurtz that hit that scored it? And Duhar hit a home run. Langeliers hit a home run. And Kurtz has got the day off. Okay, so Urshela is starting. They aren't even playing Nick Kurtz. Looks like Soderstrom is also getting the day off. So kind of going with a B lineup against the Astros today. And yet they still are winning 1-0. Astros are countering with what looks like their A lineup right now with all the injuries they have. Their only bench guys are Yanier Diaz, Bryce Matthews. So I guess those 2 guys, but Matthews is only hitting 156, but is looking like a little bit better player as he started to settle into the big leagues. Gallen's given up a couple more runs. Not good if you're looking for Zach Gallen here at the deadline. Nick, I prefer Robert over Mullins as the Mets center fielder and bullpen help and starting pitching at the 25 deadline. Let's go Mets. I would prefer Robert at this point over Mullins as well. I think Mullins is primarily a speed guy, on-base guy, more of a batting average type of a player. Robert really struggled early in the season. He's certainly turned it on as of late. I think he's got better defensive abilities than Mullins by a mile, especially being able to throw it in. Let me go ahead and pull up my screen here. There's your scores. Scherzer giving up a couple more runs against his former team. Uh-oh. Detroit might finally be getting out of there. Diaz is not a bench guy, true. But I'm just saying the majority of the Astros guys are in there with the lineup they have today. Singleton getting the start at DH, I suppose, giving Diaz the day off would be the only change. Matthews, I'd probably put Dubon over there. He's been playing a lot of second. Either way, A's and Astros kind of going with a little bit different lineups today. John S. Is Cashman done dealing today? No, actually, I think we're going to see another Yankees trade today. I'm expecting it to be on the starting pitching side. I am expecting some activity today, not just rumors. Let's head over to our X page and see if anything is happening on the rumor side of things. There's the Hall of Fame induction for Ichiro, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner. Joe Kelly looking like he's getting a chance. Dipoto, Mariners will be aggressive in search for high-end relief help. Interesting. That's the first time I've heard them connected to high-end relievers. I know everybody's always looking for bullpen help. I get it, but they need more bats, honestly. I like the Naylor addition, but they're supposed to be, they need one more bat. I would like them to go after a third baseman like Suarez, who they had success with before. But we'll see. Verlis, can you do a Helsley trade to a team that makes sense to you? We can do that one. I think one trade that would make sense there for Helsley. Let's look at his value real quick. Yankees are weird now. They don't act or have the mindset of the Yankees we grew up with, Michael. True. They don't act like the big bad Yankees, the evil empire Yankees. Nowadays, the big bad empire is the Los Angeles Dodgers. But Helsley is, what, 3 right now? $3.8, so they've bumped him up even more now. So where could he go? Mets, to me, stick out quite a bit. Rangers is a fallback option for Bednar and some of the other closers that they're targeting before Helsley. Blue Jays seem like a great fit. Phillies seem like a good fit as well. The Blue Jays and the Cardinals have come together on some trades recently as well. I'm going to say the Blue Jays, because I still think they need another relief pitcher, closer type. So you send Helsley there, and in return, it's not going to cost you a whole heck of a lot, but I do think it's going to cost you a nice starting pitcher prospect like King. Callen's really bumped up, so maybe you get a top 5 piece straight up. Let's say they just do that. 1-for-1 deal. Fair trade? Honestly, I think it is. Trying to remember where he's actually ranked. I think he's number 5, but I'm trying to remember his numbers for the Blue Jays. Where are they? There they are. Steven King is their 4. He's their 5. Right-handed pitcher. He's at AA now. King is at A. Only 1 start, though. 49 strikeouts to 48 innings. 10 walks in high A. And just getting his feet wet at AA. Meanwhile, King at low A. Strikeouts are really good, so he's actually got a good some projectability going on here. How old is he? 19 versus 22, so maybe you get King instead. I know he's further away, but He'd probably be the better option between the two, just by a little. Adolis to the Yankees. It's just not going to happen. Rangers are looking to add here at the deadline. If they were to trade Adolis Garcia, that would be them struggling going into the break, them struggling coming out of the break. That's not happened. I think there is a reasonable expectation that Adolis Garcia could be traded in the offseason. I could do a mock for that, but at the deadline, that's not happening. When's the last time the Yankees beat the Rangers or Astros in the playoffs, Michael? Well, the Rangers really haven't been in the playoffs recently outside of the World Series year. Most recently before that, we're talking, 2015 range, somewhere in there? And then the Astros in the playoffs, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember off the top of my head the Astros, honestly. Ray's softening stance on dealing Yandy. Brendan Lau, I'd love either one with the Rangers. I would love Yandy Diaz. I think the Astros are also in love with Yandy Diaz. He's played second in the past. I'm not sure he'd still be able to play second at this point in his career. I think Yandy would probably be best as a first baseman wherever he goes. And I think the team that gets him will play him at that spot and will be willing to pay for it. So I think the Astros will probably be outbid for Diaz. Let's go ahead and do another trade, shall we? Let us know in the comments a trade that you guys would like us to do. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Right now, with 30 of you guys watching, we only have 14 thumbs up. Let's hit get that like at the bottom of the video. We're going to be live with you guys for about 3 to 4 hours this afternoon. We're going to be getting quite a bit of trade rumors today. We're going to get some trade activity. And then this evening, I'm expecting, when we do our live this evening, later after the Sunday night baseball game, we're going to have some actual bigger trades to talk about as well. The Sunday before is usually activity day. You get the final information as where these teams ultimately view their rosters. The bigger trades usually have to happen a couple of days before the deadline. Very rarely do you see big trades actually happen on deadline day because the medical's involved, the financials involved. You need time to get those details worked out. You don't want to wait till the last minute on those deals and then ultimately not get the trade call in time. And then all that work goes for naught. So usually you get those deals a little bit earlier. So expect the bigger deals to happen here today through Tuesday, maybe going into Wednesday. But then you get to Wednesday and Thursday, and it's a lot of guys that are at the back end of rosters, middle relief guys, back of the bullpen guys that are going to be available for a low cost. Utility players, right-handed hitters off the bench, left-handed hitters off the bench, a backup catcher, number 5 starters. That's usually the activity you see in the final 24 to 36 hours before the deadline. Robert to the Yankees, I can do that one. In 2015, Astros beat. That's okay. That sounds about right. I mean, they've really struggled with him recently, so that does sound close. Okay. So you're saying Yankees and Robert? We might have done this one last night. I can't remember as one of the last trades we did, but let's go ahead and see what it would cost. Rangers game about to get underway. Negative 0.9. I think you throw in 7 mil now. They've updated the value left on his deal. Yankees get... Thank you, Verlis. Appreciate that super chat. If you guys want to help out the channel like that, I do really appreciate that. YouTube does have us monetized, so you guys have the ability to do that. But I do this for the fun of it, $1 a day is generally what the going rate is for YouTube nowadays. But when you guys donate like that, it makes this all worth it as well. But this is a lot of fun to do with you guys anyway. So appreciate the support, Verlis. Thank you very much. All right, so we're looking for around 8-ish value from the Yankees. And we're not looking for anybody too big that would impact their chances to win off the Major League roster this year. We're looking for players that are probably close. So like Cunningham would probably be about as high as you could go. They already have catchers, otherwise I'd say a catcher. LaGrange, I think, is the perfect fit right now as the best piece of the deal. I'm thinking maybe Lillane or Selvage as the second piece. Let's go to page 2 just to make sure there's not somebody else that I'm missing. There it goes. Let's see here. Alejandro. Go the quantity approach, I suppose, on that one. And then Arias. That's not a bad deal. Wow, thank you, Texan. I appreciate that. Wow, that was surprising. Thank you, my friend. Really do appreciate it. Jack Leiter taking the hill for the Rangers as the game's about to get underway. You didn't realize Lau was hitting .270 with 19 home runs. His surplus, if I remember, was around 12. 11 or 12, Ethan. I am staying on during the Rangers game. Got it on over here, so if you guys want to watch while you're on the while you're enjoying the stream as well, you can. Also got it tuned. Had it tuned into MLB TV, but I don't want my stream to get too bogged down with connection speeds by having 4 games up in the quad box on MLB.TV and the Rangers game on and the stream and all these tabs open. I want to make sure the stream at least stays pretty intact. First pitch from Leiter to Profar. Pops it up and out of play. Would you accept it? If I'm the White Sox, I would probably accept this deal. This is probably way more than I think they would have expected for Rivera at the beginning of the season. I think LaGrange has a real chance to be a nice pitcher for the White Sox, but he's going to need some time, so probably a year and a half until he's ready. Alejandro's probably going to need 3.5 years. Arias is probably going to need at least 3 years. And the White Sox are looking to compete right now, so they're not going to be a part of this competitive wave that the White Sox are trying to build, but they would be the next wave that would be coming. So the way teams like to build out their minor leagues is they like to have waves of talent hit at the major league level at the same time. You don't want to have one prospect and then another half season later another prospect, another half season later another prospect. Teams don't usually like to do that. They like to have their young talent all get to the big leagues at the same time, so that way they have a very young roster together that can build and have a successful group as of one big core. You think of the core 4 for the Yankees, remember? Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte, and Jorge Posada, excuse me. That core 4 really propelled the Yankees to win those World Series. Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, Scott Brocious around the periphery of that core group. But because they had that core together, no matter how many pieces you think your core is, whether it be 3 to 5, maybe 6 players, you want those players to come together as a group. So you have a really competitive nucleus going forward and not just, hey, well, we had one good rookie season out of one of our guys, and then a couple years later we had another good season from another one of our guys. You want to have all that talent get to the big leagues at the same time. So this trade, if I'm the White Sox, gives them another wave. If they feel like their first wave is good enough already, they don't really have space to bring in another prospect to fit in that group, then this trade would make sense. For the Yankees, would I do this trade? They usually like to give it quantity rather than quality. LaGrange would be the one quality piece in this trade that makes it worth it, as there are now 2 outs in the game already. Leiter at 6 pitches. Acuna coming up. I would probably take this deal as well. Gives them some versatility in the outfield. They can play Robert in center or right field. Dominguez, if he goes down again, he could obviously slide over to left as well. And with Judge being a DH only, they need another outfielder to me. I think Spencer Jones is going to need at-bats. Depends on his back spasms, if he's going to miss any time, really. But I think he'll be on the roster at some point here soon. I do think you'll need another hitter here, and I think this gives you a good bench player. Do I think he would start every day for the Yankees? Probably not. I'd say he probably starts 50% of the games for the Yanks. But I would do this deal. And Leiter is through the first. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom half. Nothing so far. And Jock Peterson is back for the Texas Rangers. I know that doesn't excite a lot of Rangers fans, but I'm curious to see what he's got in the tank for the second half here. I mean, the first half couldn't have gone much worse for Jock Peterson. Injury took out 50-plus games of his season. An 0 for 57 slump or something like that early in the year that made his batting average look ungodly. I mean, it was looking like 0.05% for quite a while there, but he was able to raise it up all the way to like 140 right before the injury. And I'm curious to see what he's got for the second half, because he's going to be the left-handed DH option going into the postseason, because there's no way you're going to be able to unload that contract based on how poorly he played in the first half. Now, if he goes on a hell of a run over the final 50, 60 games of the year, then he might opt out of the deal and go into free agency once again. But I doubt it. I think he's going to pick up his player option, and that's money going to be sunk for next year. The Rangers are looking to stay under the tax this season, so it kind of resets their tax table. They will go into the tax after the season, but they will not do it this year. O'Neill Cruz to the Yankees. We could do that one here in just a minute, Aaron. But that was your Robert trade. Ethan, according to MLB insider Buster Olney, who was expecting Texas to be aggressive seeking out deals with closer and bullpen and right-handed hitting DH and platoon with Jock, is expected to be added. Let's go. I do think the Rangers will be very active. Smith, Seager, Simeon, Garcia, Peterson, Langford, Carter, Young, and Heim. There has been some discussion about the Rangers upgrading at the backup catcher spot. I'm not sure they would do that necessarily, but I think the DH spot would probably be the most likely. Somebody who can play first base, third base, DH, catcher, somewhere in there, maybe a corner outfielder. Because of the versatility of Josh Smith, they can go a lot of different directions there. But is Cashman done dealing today, John? No, he is not. I'm expecting a trade for a starter today as Elder takes the mound for the Braves. I think he's got an ERA around 6, so the Rangers should do well with their offense in this game. Smith, who's really been struggling for basically since a little bit before the All-Star break, looking to shake out or kind of come out of it here, goes ahead 2-0 against Bryce Elder. Over the top on that slider there, 2-1. All right, let's go ahead and get another trade done. Let's see here. Trying to see if I missed any comments here. Thank you for those super chats, though. Those mean a lot, and really do appreciate that. Got about 38 of you guys with us right now. Only 20 likes. Let's see if we can bump that number up a little bit. We're going to be live with you guys for at least the next few hours. That one finishes low, and ball 4. Smith gets on. He is probably one of the most patient hitters in the Rangers lineup. If the Rangers are going to make a big trade, the one thing I think they would look for in a hitter is somebody who's patient at the plate, somebody who's willing to work the count, see a lot of pitches, because a lot of the hitters in the Rangers lineup do not see a lot of pitches. Langford swings early in the count. Simeon swings early. Seager swings early. Smith, if he's not hitting in front of Seager, usually swings early as well. And so getting somebody in there who's willing to see a few pitches, take a walk, work the count, I think would be invaluable for this lineup. So kind of think of that when you're looking at trade targets for the Rangers. So Yandy Diaz does that to some degree. We'll dig into some of the more advanced stats as far as walks, on-base percentage here in just a little bit for some of the other trade targets teams may be looking at as well. Maybe Diaz isn't playing for the Astros today because he's part of a deal. I seriously doubt it. He is their future at catcher. He's not moving anywhere. 1-1 to Seager. It's rare to see him get to 3 balls or to see 3 pitches in a bat, but the Braves pitchers have been really wild in this series. He's going to see a 4th one. We see back-to-back walks here. The Rangers starter Kumar Rocker was wild yesterday to start the game. Still managed to get through 4. I was surprised he got through 4. I thought he'd be pulled after the first inning, or during the first inning based off of how badly it started. I thought they would have got the bullpen going with Latz, Gray, Bosley. Let's do another trade, though, while we wait for this inning to continue. 7 balls, 2 strikes so far for Elder. We'll check in on scores as well here after the conclusion of the first. That ball way too high, and back-to-back walks. Rangers first and second, nobody out in the first. Rangers looking to continue their hot ways and will likely get into the wild card picture today with a win. In case you guys are wondering where the Rangers currently stand in the wild card picture, they're a half game out of the wild card. They're a game and a half out of being the number 1 wild card. They're 5 games out of the division. And if the Astros lose today, Rangers win, that is down to 4. And we aren't even to the trade deadline yet. This was, what, a 10-game, 11-game difference 3 weeks ago? And the Astros played really well in that group as well. That one misses outside here. 1-1 to Semien. Could we see 3 straight walks to begin the game? That's pretty rare. Ouch. Semien nails one off of his foot, fouls it off 1-2. I don't think we'll see another walk here. Looks like he's starting to find the zone now. Elder is nowhere near the type of player he was a year ago for them. Looks like people have started to figure out the type of pitcher Elder is. Showing Semien's walk-off hit last night after getting beamed in the face in the game. 2-2. What do you think is the biggest piece the Yankees will get at the deadline? A starting pitcher. My prediction is they get at least one of the guys, Kelly or Gallen from the Diamondbacks. I think they've had so much discussion around Eugenio Suarez that the two teams are a very good match for a trade for one of those starters. I think the Blue Jays end up getting the other one. If they're able to go a little bit bigger option as far as a starting pitcher, a controllable guy, Dylan Cease, as far as an expiring deal, makes some sense as well, but I don't see a real trade going back to the Padres that makes sense for them. But Cabrera makes sense for them. Keller makes a lot of sense. They've been touch base on both of those guys in the past day or two. Joe Ryan, if the Twins ultimately are willing to deal him. Ground ball, double play it looks like here. No, he beats it out. First and third, one out now. With Adolis Garcia coming up and Jock Peterson on deck. This is a very interesting game for me because at the conclusion of this one, with as much trade talk as there will be in the evening hours today, to have the Braves sitting there in your city, if you're the Texas Rangers, if I'm Chris Young, I'm talking to Alex Anthopoulos quite a bit today about any of his controllable pieces. I'm talking about Olsen, I'm talking about Riley, Acuna, any of those pieces. If I can at least find any type of wiggle room on any of those players, any wiggle room at all, I'm in there like white on rice, man. Like, I think any of those players would be difference makers for this Rangers team. One now to Garcia. Dana Brown said that Brady's hamstring injury is more severe than we thought. Well, they thought it was going to be severe anyway. More severe than they thought, so I'm guessing he's probably going to miss at least the entire month of August. Murphy as well, yes. The Locked On Rangers people were talking about Sean Murphy being a great option for the Rangers. I like Sean Murphy, but at $15 million and with injury issues last year, down performance last year as well, I have my concerns. He reminds me a lot of Jonathan Lucroy, but as a controllable asset rather than an expiring. This one's grounded foul. Remains 1-2 against Garcia here. They got Elder up to 19 pitches already with only one out. Nice work by the ball girl, though. Thoughts on Joe Kelly coming back? Anything left? Bullpen guys are notoriously mercurial. 1 year they'll have it, 1 year they won't. Joe Kelly is no different to that group. If this is the year that he has it and he shows he has that effectiveness and can still pop that mid a little bit, I think he could still be a nice option, but I'm not giving him a guaranteed deal. I'm letting him come back on a non-guaranteed minor league deal and saying, hey, prove yourself in the minors for a couple weeks, then we're calling you up if you are really good. That one misses low, and looks like a delayed steal was on for Marcus Semien. And he takes second base, keeping the Rangers out of the double play. Murphy pumped to throw to second, but didn't throw it, because it looks like Josh Smith was ready to go if he did. Garcia held up on a check swing, too. Almost batter's interference on that one, but not quite enough. Cruz to the Yankees. Let's go ahead and do that one for you. Garcia takes his time, 3-2. Second and third, one out. I do apologize if I start to miss your comments as we get more and more people in here as the day goes along, but if you want to make sure I notice your comment, be sure to signify it somehow. But let's go ahead and do that Yankees one you're mentioning there. That one misses low, and 3 walks in the inning now by Elder. And now it'll be Jock Peterson coming up for the first time since May 23rd, and the bases are loaded for the recently activated Jock Peterson. All eyes on this one in Texas right now. I swear if Jock struggles, we have to cut ties with him at some point. You have to send a message to the locker room. I don't think they necessarily need to do that. I think they could do the injury thing like they've done with Brad Miller in the past. But I think he's going to be on this roster for better or worse next year because you're paying him $18 million next year. Grounds the first one foul. Not a great swing on that one. Looks like he's trying to get his swing off. You're calling a Jock grand slam? That'd be awesome. Now, I know my TV is a little bit delayed, so I apologize if I'm a little delayed on it. Check swing, but he went around. Laz Diaz calling balls and strikes, so expect very curious calls behind the plate today. He is one of the lowest graded umpires all season. Angel Hernandez territory. Oh 0-2 here on Peterson. We'll do the trade for O'Neill Cruz here in just a moment. Swing and a miss, and he's down on 3 pitches. Well, you could attribute it to rust. You could attribute it to, hey, this is Jock Peterson, the same old Jock Peterson we saw before the injury. I'm going to chalk it up to rust for now. I want to see how his second at-bat goes. But, I mean, a struggling pitcher to find pitches in the zone, he should have been patient in that at-bat and seen a few pitches. Now it's up to Langford. Really don't want to spoil this opportunity. Told you guys we'd see some interesting calls. That pitch missed by about 4 inches and called a strike on, again, Wyatt Langford. Told you guys Angel Hernandez just a minute ago is kind of the territory Laz Diaz is in. There's a bad check swing again by Wyatt Langford. Again, I tell you guys, the Rangers need a more patient hitter. These 2 at-bats by Peterson and Langford, I don't care what Diaz just did in the first strike call. That's a terrible swing decision by Langford. And he holds up on this one. Good choice by Elder to see if he could get him to chase. 1-2. But you get the bases loaded with only 1 out. If you don't get a run across, it's not the end of the world, but it certainly doesn't look good for the start. That one misses low, 2-2. Elder has missed the zone quite a bit here. Don't help him out. I know I just saw the tweet. I'm watching the game on a little bit behind, but let's see what actually happens here. Langford rips a double into the gap, left center field. Just barely gets down in front of Harris and clears the bases. 3-0 Texas. Wow. Langford really needed that. He had been struggling bad. There was conversation in Texas for basically the last month whether Langford would have to get the Jake Berger, Josh Young treatment, send him down to the minors to get confidence back. He plays hard every day. Work ethic is off the charts, but you need to start seeing some proof in the pudding. Still didn't necessarily like the at-bat, but the end result worked out. Strong contact, into the gap, clears the bases, and hopefully he can build off of that. Remember when we were talking about Langford trade possibilities the last time? He went on a nice 2-3 game stretch and then immediately face-planted thereafter. We'll see if that happens again here as the Braves go out there and speak with their starter Elder. They need some innings out of him today, more than anything else. Even if they don't get the win, they just need innings. Michael, what do you like more, Pizza Hut or Domino's? Pizza Hut as a child, I loved their personal pan pizzas. Had my 3rd birthday, I believe, at Pizza Hut in South Dakota. Rented out the whole place, got to use the kitchen. It was really cool. But nowadays, Domino's by a mile. Better crust. Sauce is okay, and I don't really like red sauce. But their sauce is flavorful. Their toppings are better. The cheese is still the best at Pizza Hut. It's still not close. Pizza Hut always has the best cheese. What do you think the Dodgers do with Conforto? Has been awful. I think they end up giving him the Chris Taylor treatment and get him to DFA or hold on to him at the end of the season to hope he strikes a hot streak here. Hard hit ball, but right at Matt Olson. Nice swing there by Evan Carter, and but 3 runs come across for Texas in the first. A nice way to begin the ball game for the Rangers, who are one of the hottest teams in all of baseball right now. Hats off to that first inning so far. But welcome in Nando, welcome in Mark. Appreciate you guys joining us. Do you see the Orioles as the most active, especially since Elias loves prospects? Most active, no. Very active, yes. All right, let's go ahead and do that trade for O'Neill Cruz like we were talking about. Anthony, welcome in. Cruz's value yesterday was 33.5. Let's see what it is today. Still the same. To the Yankees. We got pushback on including Spencer Jones in this deal, but I think if you're giving up O'Neill Cruz, you need somebody of that impact back. Ben Rice doesn't get you that impact. And even if you gave up 4 quantity pieces, Pirates aren't doing that. So you have to give them a reason to give up O'Neill Cruz. You have to overwhelm them. George Lombard, I think, is too much value for you, but I think the best piece that you could put in this deal would be a Spencer Jones. I'm not buying Ben Rice as the primary piece here. I think Schlitter would be a nice piece to go in there, especially if you trade Keller. Now, a more interesting deal just occurred to me. You could include Keller in this deal, get yourself a starting pitcher and a bat. Then you'd definitely have to include Lombard. But if you don't include Lombard and you do Ben Rice as the catcher going back, that gets you 3 big pieces. I think you need to put in 2 more. I think LaGrange would have to be one of those pieces. And maybe Cunningham as well. Schlitter takes over in the rotation for Keller. You're giving up Jones, Rice, Schlitter, LaGrange, and Cunningham for O'Neill Cruz and a controllable starter in Mitch Keller. Would I do this if I'm the Pirates? Probably not. I would want more value back. I'd probably split up the 2 assets. I wouldn't do both in the same deal. If I'm the Yankees, would I do this deal? Keller does solve my issues in the rotation and gives me somebody cost controlled for the future. Same thing with Cruz, especially if Bellinger leaves. First base is going to have an opening with Goldschmidt leaving. I'm telling you, you guys keep not wanting to include Spencer Jones, but if you're wanting any player on this type of a level, this level of an upgrade, Spencer Jones is going to be the ask, especially if they're under control. Now for rentals like Suarez, I'm sure the ask is Spencer Jones, but the Yankees aren't giving up Spencer Jones for rental. I think the Yankees would probably find a different suitor for this deal. For Spencer Jones, I think they might want more certainty as far as performance this year. Cruz is hitting .220 this year right now. Anthony, do you have a favorite taco since you have a lot of Tex-Mex and authentic Mexican food around you? Favorite taco place? Favorite in town would probably be Don Juan's. He does a really good job with tacos. Enchiladas are pretty great. There's a Trumpo tacos are really good as well. What contender who wants controllable pitching is the best fit for Miami in terms of the return for what they could get for Edward Cabrera? I would say the Dodgers have a lot to give, but I'm not sure they'd be looking for controllable pitching, more so impact this season, so rental or not, I don't think they care. I think Chicago would be the most desperate, so I think you get a really nice return for Cabrera from Chicago. If you want old Yankees back, you got to give up prospects. True. Add Reynolds. Brian Reynolds? You would take that contract off the books? He's a negative value. Looks like Leiter struggling with his command here early in the second. Rangers need him to give some length today after 5 for Eovaldi on Friday, 4 for Rocker on Saturday. They need him to give a little bit of length today, so they're hoping for probably 6 innings out of Leiter. Ward and Jansen package to Texas. I would like that deal if I were Rangers. 2-2 now to Austin Riley. I'm going to go ahead and post it and watch all the negative comments from all the Yankees fans who are like, oh no, you can't trade Spencer Jones. Not Spencer. You got to give to get, man. 3-2 as Leiter misses the zone. Really need a shutdown inning after scoring 3 in the first. All right, so for the Angels and Rangers, you want the trade for Ward and Jansen. Brian Reynolds has too much negative value there, as Leiter misses the zone and walks and gets another base runner here. Wonder if we see a mound visit here from Mike Maddox. Back-to-back hitters reach. Heim coming out. Hottest hitter right now on the Braves, Michael Harris coming up. Went 4 for 4, I believe, yesterday. 2 triples, a homer, and a double. He's kind of changed his hand placement and starting to hit a little bit better. I say a little bit. A lot better. Breggy, welcome back. Appreciate you joining us. Does Philadelphia make sense for Cabrera? Not so much. Their pitching's pretty good, but they already have money invested in their starting pitching. In the offseason, possibly, but not right now. Harris is up there to bunt. Or at least bluffed it anyway, but takes strike 1. He's the first player in Braves history to do that, and only the 9th player ever to have that stat line. A home run, 2 triples, and a double in the same game. That's even rarer than the 4 home run game or the perfect game. A grounder foul. 0-2. Let's see here. Ward is 10.6. Jansen, I want to say he's on the negative side right now. Yeah, 1.5. He's got 4.7 left. Ward's got a little bit left as well. Rangers could still probably acquire both of those guys without having the Angels retain any money. That one misses wide, not close. 1-2. The return, though, for the Angels, for Ward and Jansen, I think they'd want starting pitching back, and I think they'd want a couple of bites at the apple. That one misses low again, 2-2. I love this Braves lineup is a lot more patient. You want Joe Adell on the Astros or Rangers? Adell ain't moving. He's finally lived up to the prospect status for the first time ever since he was a top 5 prospect in the game at one point. This is his best season. He's staying with the Angels through at least this season. Swing and a miss, something the Rangers couldn't get him to do yesterday, and he chases the fastball a little bit up out of the zone. Big out there for Jack Leiter. As hot as he is, he's the type of swing right now that could easily tie this game. All right, but I'll start this deal with Davio. I'm going to put Bratt in this deal. 2 really good pitchers going that way. And then one more piece to just round it out. Morabel. A flyer you could throw in there. Collie. Maybe Dustin Harris. Let's do Dustin Harris. I think you could probably call up Harris right now. Murphy lifts this one. And it falls for a double. That sucks. A little bloop double. And it scores a run. 3-1 now. That's bad luck. How about a 3-team trade between the Angels, Rangers, and Marlins? I don't really see that happening. I mean, Cabrera would be the one player I guess the Angels would want, or White perhaps, as far as a bigger piece. But there's no piece that the Angels could offer that would be worth giving up or getting that in return. But that's a pretty good deal right there. Breggy, what would a trade for Paul Skeens look like? There's nobody that really makes sense for a deal for Paul Skeens right now. His value is just too high. His value is around 120 and change. Profar bloops this one over second base and caught kind of an infield fly rule there. Couple of jam shots. This one actually goes for an out. 3-1. Walks will always hurt you is the lesson of this inning. Also got a question with Simeon and Seager on the books for a while. Where do you see Walcott playing in the future? I would imagine right field is the most likely place where he plays, with Adolis Garcia getting traded in the offseason. Then probably adding a short-term right fielder until Walcott is ready at the big league level, because I don't think he'll be ready on opening day next year, but I think around the trade deadline he'll be ready to take that spot. Anthony, would you consider the Mariners a contender? And when would they make sense for Cabrera? They don't need Cabrera, even though their pitching hasn't lived up to the billing that they were supposed to be this year. They need offense still. I think they're going to have to rally the troops with the talent that they have already. Dipoto said he's looking for high-end relief help, so that'll help as well. Maybe not having to put so much weight on their starters. But that bullpen starting staff should have been the strength of this team all year long, and it hasn't been quite as good as expected. But I don't think they're necessarily a fit for Cabrera, though. Suarez, to me, for the offensive side, still seems like a likely fit. John Heyman saying that the Mariners and Cubs are both the co-favorites for his services at this point. No one good to the Angels. Are you guys? You want something? Well, there's no one good on the Angels that's worth that level of return. Ellie De La Cruz to the Yankees? That's not happening. Fouled off 2-2 now. We'll see if Leiter can put Allen away here. Think he is related to Brett Boone, the Rangers hitting coach, if I remember correctly. Ooh, doesn't chase the high fastball. Nice pitch by Leiter, but it goes 3-2. Last thing you want to do is see this lineup get turned over. Rangers needed a shutdown inning and haven't gotten it this one from Jack Leiter, but if they can keep the bleeding to 1 run, I think they would take it. The 3-2 popped up behind first base. Garcia coming on, and he gets it for the third out. They give up the 1 run, 3-1. They go to the bottom of the second. Anthony, I understand that you don't think it happens, but how about Kyle Stowers to the Mariners? That would be an impact piece that I think would be a legitimate option for the Mariners. I don't agree with the idea that the Marlins would trade him to begin with, but that would actually be an impactful trade for them. Now, they've got a really nice outfield already. Canzone's played really well, but if you utilize him as a 4th outfielder, your bench gets that much better. All right, so Marlins, Stowers, he was at 27 if I remember correctly last time we looked. His value now, no, it's 25. Okay, so 25.9. He goes to the Mariners. Montez would probably be one of the first pieces I would look to. I think that would still be the piece I would look to. And then you go with a lower cost piece just to kind of round out the deal. Maybe a Pete. A 2-for-1 deal. Lazaro Montez for Ty Pete. resetting the clock on the free agent calendar for Stowers. 3 years left on his deal, whereas Montez would still have a full 6 years of control. Not bad. Heel Michael, Yankees fans be like, we want everyone on the trade block, but when asked who they'd be willing to give up their, like, how about a bag of chips? I like that one, Heel. A lot of fan bases are like that. That's why I like doing this channel, because, you know, you can get in the echo chamber of Rangers fans and think, oh, your player is the, you know, most valuable piece in the world. You know, before, you know, Baseball America and other publications, you know, really had as much access as they do nowadays, the Rangers kind of did that in real life with Jerks and Profar. There was some, because the Rangers kind of held him out, didn't allow him to be seen as much on the way up for the through the minors. He got all the way up to #1 in the major leagues as far as prospect status. And there's plenty of scouts who will tell you that he really shouldn't have been there. He was a really good player, don't get me wrong, but he never should have been given the pressure of being the #1 player, #1 prospect in the game. And the Rangers were able to pull the wool over everybody's eyes for a while. And ultimately, they were able to, or they didn't accept a trade for him when they really should have. Remember those years they, you know, they had really good talent, you know, really good playoff talent, but ultimately decided to hold on to their top end pieces. You know, Mike Olt for a while, Jerks and Profar for a while, Joey Gallo for a while, and ultimately never dealt those top pieces. Well, it kind of bit him in the foot, because when it did turn out to be time for him to be traded, he only netted them basically a couple of smaller level pieces. And, you know, they just never really got the return on the investment. Josh Young up here, 1 and 2 here in the bottom of the second. Having a really nice return to the lineup, but swings and misses badly at that one. Chases the slider. That slider's working a little bit better now, the longer he's gotten into this game. Jonah Heim up next. But I kind of like this deal for both sides. Stowers for Montez and Pete. Just posted another video right now as Jonah Heim gets a base hit about those Texas Rangers. If you guys want to check out that video that literally just posted 20 seconds ago about the Texas Rangers being buyers here at the deadline. Has some names included in that video as well. Nice little hit to the opposite way there for Jonah. His bat's coming around. Josh Smith, hard hit ball, right field. Is it gone? It is! Home run, Josh Smith. Finally looking like he's shaking it off a little bit. He looks a lot better at the plate today than he did yesterday. 9th home run of the year. He might have 15 home run pop in that bat by the end of the season. Put a nice swing on that one. 5-1 Texas in front. Got all of that one. You're never going to see him hit like a 500-foot home run, but you're going to see him get just a little bit out through right field. Just imagine if the Yankees had never traded him. They'd have had Ezekiel Duran, Josh Smith, been able to play both of those guys and not made the trade for Jazz Chisholm. Who knows what Ezekiel Duran's career would look like with everyday playing time? Josh Smith would probably be your everyday third baseman or shortstop, and Volpe would be at third, one of those two. 0-2 here to Seager as he fouls one back. Want to see how this Seager at-bat goes. Hank, welcome in. Misses low and away. Heim batting after the 9th and on is like 400 hitter. He does have that clutch gene. He does have a few walk-off home runs, a few walk-off hits in his career. Takes strike 3 on the inside corner. That was a good call. Seager just asking about it. I think he knew it, though. That was a good one. I think he thought that he was getting the slider down and in at the back foot, but this time he went with a fastball in the inside corner and dotted it up. Nice pitch there by Elder to get Seager. Simeon next, 2 away, 5-1 Rangers in the second. Do the Mariners have a lot of guys in AAA, being that the Marlins drafted a lot of the college guys? We probably are going to move through the system quickly that they could trade for Kyle. Not anybody that they would trade this year. I think that those guys are more valuable to the front office that just selected them. They do have a lot of guys that are in Double A right now. A lot of guys that are in that 19 to 21 years old window that's coming up as that next wave of pieces. But the Marlins, the Mariners anyway, are a team that does not like to trade away their prospects. But they're going to have to do a trade that hurts here a little bit. This one off the end of the bat by Simeon, and that'll end things in the second. 5-1 Rangers, though, as we go to the third. Tiki Barber, what are they talking about on Twitter? Let's see here. Tiki Barber, okay. Longtime friend CC Sabathia, okay, that makes some sense. A lot of stories. Eric Davis remembering his friend Dave Parker, who got into the Hall of Fame finally. Again, once these guys have their day at the Hall of Fame, then we're going to get those rumors coming out here. Sandy Koufax at 89. He does look pretty good. Let's see, MLB Trade Rumors says they're looking for a high-leverage reliever, right-handed bat. That was the Ken Rosenthal report we saw earlier. No new news there. Check out our notifications. Nothing. All right. 0 for 12 so far this week. I want to use it. I use him in fantasy as a disappointing player. I want to trade Smith for a best player, but he has to be much better than his 0 for 12 or so this week. He's been one of the Rangers that's just been down this week, Hank. I agree with you that this is about as good as we're going to see Josh Smith's value right now, but I don't think they trade him during the season. I do think there's a reasonable conversation to have in the offseason about his availability along with Adolis Garcia, but for right now, those guys are not going anywhere. All right. Let's check in on some of the scores from around the league. All right. Rangers 5-1 currently, going to the third against the Braves. Diamondbacks 4-0 losers right now against Pittsburgh. Gallen's probably last start there. Is he still pitching? That was the Bus report, not Ken, but the same. Ken Rosenthal did the same report, though. I read his article on The Athletic. I think it was this morning or last night, one of the two. It ran together for me last night and this morning, but let's see here. How far did Gallen go today? 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, 1 walk. I guess is the best way you could put this start. Not a quality start, but at least better than what he's been doing, I suppose. Reds still winning against the Rays, who have waved the white flag on their season. 2-0 there. Tigers still blanking the Jays. That's a little bit surprising. 3-0. Runner on second with 1 out. Maybe they'll get our first run across. Orioles 4-1 over the Rockies. Yankees hanging tough, 4-3 currently against the Phillies. Rodon getting the start for the Yanks today. 2 on, nobody out though in the top of the 5th with a run already in. A's currently on top with a lot of subs in the lineup for both teams. 4-0 there. No Kurtz in the lineup today, and yet the A's are still thumping them. Twins losing 4-2. They absolutely will be sellers. Got a video coming out later about the Chicago Cubs and Mackenzie Gore. Ace for the Nationals. I think there's a good chance he could be moved. Nationals looking like they're going to score a couple more runs here. Marlins 2-1 currently over the Brewers. Again, continuing to play well. Royals 3-0. Dodgers on top of the Red Sox 3-1. If the Red Sox lose and the Rangers win, Rangers are in the playoffs at the end of the day. Strikeout there. Leiter getting Profar to begin things here in the third. That was a great pitch. Just dotted it up right on the inside corner. Only have seen one really bad call so far by Diaz. Of course, it was against, guess, Wyatt Langford. Swing and a miss on that one. Took the changeup, the kick change as they call it anyway, low and away. Last 3 games, Leiter has 18 strikeouts. That's pretty good. He's developing into a true ace. Not saying he's an ace yet, but I'm saying right now, of all the young pitchers the Rangers have had in the last, I don't know, 25 years, he's got to be the most promising that I've seen. Understandably, it's still early, but he's having a really great season. 0-2 tries to test him up top. I think if he had elevated it just a little bit more, he gets the swing and miss, but Olsen fouls it off. Got 28 likes on the video. Thank you guys so much for enjoying the content. Really do appreciate those hearts in the chat as well. The 0-2 grounded foul. Leiter up to 44 pitches. Padres 5-0 over the Cardinals. Mariners still not started yet, and again, Mets, Giants later in the nightcap. Let's double check, see if anything newsworthy is coming out yet. Draft stuff, no thank you. Anthony Michael, who is on the bump for Miami today against the Brewers? I don't remember. I can look it up for us, though. Game day. Woodruff is going for Milwaukee. Bouncer down to first, and Olsen is retired. Smith has a really good glove. He can handle it over there at first. The reason why the Rangers were reluctant to do that earlier in his career because he's so short. Usually you like a bigger first baseman over there with a wider catch radius. Not usually a glove first player with, you know, the athleticism that Smith has. Usually just like the bigger target over there. Back in the day, they would just put the old fat guy over there. But the best power hitter on the team would sit over there at first and just, you know, play first base. Not really the same anymore. Can't really do that. Games kind of move by. Acuna up. Off the end of the bat, lifted into center. Carter over about 5 steps and makes the catch. 1-2-3. Heim lets out a yell. He really liked the location of those pitches. Got a big old smile on his face for Jack Leiter after that one. Leiter struggled in the second, but his command was significantly better in the third. He looks settled into the game now. He should be fine for 6, I would imagine. But you asked who was starting for the Marlins today. Let's see who it was. Oh yeah, it was Yuri Perez. We said that earlier. My apologies. Forgot about that one. 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. Now, if there's a controllable asset that could be traded and really have a big impact, I think Perez could be the nice option for somebody out there. It's going to cost the most out of any of the other options, except for maybe Ryan, maybe Gore. But I think Perez, with 4 years left on his deal, the question would be, can he handle the spotlight? Can he handle October? But as far as the future, you definitely have an ace on your hands there with Yuri Perez. Everybody wants Sandy Alcantara from that team, but Perez has been way better for a while now. He'll imagine we could be looking at an interesting wild card at the end of today. Might make the AL West really aggressive at the deadline. I think that they're already going to be aggressive. I think the Mariners are absolutely going to add another bat. I think they'll add another bullpen piece based off of how DePoto was talking. I doubt they add a starter, but I think they'll add at least 2 more pieces. Now, the Rangers, I think they're going to add maybe 3 pieces here at the deadline, depending on what the offers end up looking like. I'd say Bednar probably for the closer, most likely. I'd say they get a right-handed bat of some kind somewhere. and probably a utility player of some kind to get a little bit better player than Ezekiel Duran. Somebody like a Willie Castro, somebody along those lines. That's good news for Rangers hitting 282 against the fastball since July 1. That was really what they struggled with last year, was against that fastball. Ethan, when Leiter Kumar can throw strikes, they're a legit 1-2 punch. True, but I'll say Leiter, even when he's not throwing strikes, has the ability to course correct and be able to still give you a quality start. Whereas Kumar Rocker, if he doesn't have his location or his command, he's very easily going to come out of the game. Now, last night was the first time we've seen him kind of course correct during the course of a game. So we'll see how things work out the rest of the way for Kumar Rocker. 1-2 here on Garcia. I know every team told Altuve no when he first tried it out, but imagine the first team to tell Altuve no was the Yankees, so imagine he could have been a Yankee. That would have been crazy. Adolis a hard hit down there to third, but unable to be, or second anyway. Yeah. Was it short? Yeah, it was short. I caught it out of the corner of my eye. Unable to corral it. Okay, not so hard. It was just a short hop. And one of the best defenders in the game couldn't handle it. That's interesting. Huh. That's got to go as an error, right? Peterson is up and is more patient this time. All right. Little bouncer up the middle. It's going to get the runner to second, though, so at least is a productive out and advances the runner. Progress. I'll take it from Peterson. Next at bat, though, I want to see him drive the ball for once. Even if it's a hard hit out, I want to see Peterson hit the ball in the air, hard, somewhere. I want to see progression with every at bat, getting more comfortable at the big league level. It's his first game back. I'm willing to give him a little bit of a slide, but I want to see progression with these at-bats. Langford up for his second at-bat. Another runner in scoring position. This is where I'd really like to see him try to focus improving on his game, driving in that run. Average bumps up to 231. Chases one below the zone again. He's done that a couple of times so far today. Jose, welcome in. Thursday's the trade deadline, going to be crazy. I cannot wait. I think it's going to be crazy today in the afternoon once the Hall of Fame stuff settles down. Pretty excited about that. Watched a little bit of the Hall. And Langford walks. Patience there. Okay. Evan Carter hit one hard last time up. We'll see how he does this time around. You like Jack Michael, but I have a feeling he's going to be like his father. Father wasn't an ace. He was either a good 2 or 3 starter or a good middle of the rotation guy. I liked Al Leiter. He, to me, was a great number 2. I thought he got undersold quite a bit. His ability to throw big games. He might not always have the numbers to match, but his ability to throw in a big game in a tight spot. He had the ability to do that. Not a lot of starters did back then. If I'm Miami and I'm a fan of the team, I wouldn't trade Perez for anything, no matter how good the packages is. He is your ace right now, I would say, for the Marlins, but your team is not competitive right now. But I think if you could get, say, 2 premium prospects, say 2 top 100 guys, and say a third really valuable asset, I think you'd have to consider it. I'll show you a trade, a trade we can come up with for that. That one should have been a strike, but counts as a ball there. And Carter is hit by the pitch. Bases loaded now for Josh Young, who's been good driving in runs since he's come back. Struck out on a really good slider the last time, though. Carter took that one in the shoulder. Rangers have been hit by a pitch in every game of this series. Thoughts on your last two comments? That's what we we're just talking about. We'll do a trade here for Yuri Perez here in just a second. Would I trade Walcott for Perez? If the Rangers needed starting pitching, I would. But I think the Rangers need offense a little bit more right now anyway. Looks like a sacrifice fly here for Young. 6-1. Rangers extend their advantage. Or no, ground ball up the middle. Dang, this site, I was looking over here and watching it on the game day, and it looked like a sacrifice fly. So he gets ground ball through the middle. So Young comes through again. Is that going to be it for Elder? 7 runs? They need innings, though. So do the Rangers put up a double-digit number before Elder leaves the game? If Heim hits one out here, that's a 10-run game. Looks like he singles. The TV's behind the game day app here. John, you're thinking Cashman's done dealing? Well, they haven't addressed pitching. That's their biggest need. And almost a carbon copy of the last hit by Jonah Heim, going the other way. That's something he really hasn't done except for 2023 when he was the American League starter at catcher. If he ever gets back to that level of player, ever gets back to that, I would be surprised. But we haven't seen him do this very often at all, and we've seen him do it twice now in the game already. Josh Smith grounds out to short, moves the runners up. Corey Seager next. Got to imagine they'll intentionally walk Seager. Are they going to pull him now? Are they going to pull Elder here? Eight to 1 Texas in the bottom of the third. Can you imagine a starting rotation of Perez, Leiter, Rocker as your top 3? They do pull Elder. I'm kind of surprised. They really needed innings today. I get they're 8 to 1 down, but it's not like you're coming back in this one. Dylan Dodd. They used Dane Dunning yesterday in a long relief role. What are you going to do? Throw him out there again? Feed him to the Wolves? Are you going to go with position player relievers at the end of the game? I guess so. I get they're in a tough spot, but come on, man. What about trading for Kyle? I'm just not sure how big of an improvement Kyle Stowers is over Langford in the long run. Would I rather have the future of Langford with the issues that he has right now versus the impact Stowers brings now and the short-term value that Stowers brings, the lower ceiling? I think it's about a wash. But let's go ahead and do a trade here while we are in between, or a pitching change right now. You were asking about Yuri Perez. You're saying you wouldn't trade him? Well, I think the Marlins would if they got the right offer. I think the Mariners have a lot of great prospects that would fit, but I don't think the Mariners would do that. I think they're looking for offense first. Who else needs a high-impact starter? Let's go to the Cubs. You trade Perez to the Cubs I think you're putting Horton in this deal. I think you're getting Rojas in this deal. I think you're getting Casey in this deal. And you're close. And then you'd probably be able to get Wiggins out of this as well. Horton immediately goes into your rotation. Casey immediately goes into your outfield mix. Rojas becomes your future shortstop. Wiggins is another starting pitcher for you down the line. If you get this return for Yuri Perez, that'd be hard to say no to. 0-2 here on Seager. Let's say CY was chilling. Would you do Walcott, Smith, and Kumar for Cabrera and a prospect or something like that? Nah. Walcott still has too much value. Kumar has way too much value. I think the Marlins would rather trade Cabrera first, but if this was the offer, that'd be hard to say no to. Seth, welcome in. Your Giants play this evening. That one bounces in there. 2-2 now. Rangers continue to swing the bats well. Switch out Owen for Kevin. I'd rather have Owen, honestly. You would rather have Kevin? I think the Cubs would say thank you. We'll keep Owen. Oh, that one almost hit Corey Seager in the face. No, thank you. Well, on second thought, I think he was more diving out of the way because he doesn't need to be hit by a pitch. It looked worse than it was. Sunday Night Baseball versus the Mets, yes. When will Cashman get us pitching? Like I said, John, I think it's going to be today. I'll do a trade for starting pitching for you here in just a moment, John. I can do one for you. 3-2 to Seager. Strike 3. Nice pitch by Dodd. Gets the strikeout of Seager. Ends the inning 8-1. Rangers on top. Some clutch hitting by Josh Young. Jonah Heim going the other way. Put up crooked numbers on the board in all 3 innings so far. I keep saying they need hitting, but today they're doing very well. All right, let's go ahead and do a Yankees trade for you there, John. Well, you're not getting both of them in a trade. I mean, the Cubs have already basically said to several different outlets that they're willing to trade one of those 2 outfielders, but not both of those 2 outfielders. They want to have one of those guys when and if Kyle Tucker does leave as an insurance policy to have a productive outfielder in his spot. So they would be willing to trade one, but not both. Kind of gives you an idea into their thinking about Kyle Tucker as well. Do they think they'll be able to retain him or not? Sounds like they're not convinced that they'll be able to yet. So if the Phillies win, they need us to win. What is the score of the Phillies game anyway? Yankees still on top. Rodon is out, though. Loaizinga is coming in. Would Perez make sense to the Yankees? Honestly, yes. For the same reasons Cabrera does. That would be a higher end piece for the Yanks. Let's just see what that would look like. Yankees go to the Marlins, and instead of going for Cabrera, they go for Perez. Now I think you'd probably have to include one of Lombard or Jones in this deal. So I think Lombard would be the one that Yankees fans, if you had to give up one, you'd rather give up Lombard. Ben Rice would be another piece that you'd have to consider in this deal. They don't have too much as far as position player pieces. But if you did Schlitter to take his spot in the rotation, you did Flores to give you help behind the plate, And then Perez, I don't think you're close. Well, you actually are. Okay. That's not bad. I might want a little bit more here. Leiter back out for the fourth. 2-1 on Baldwin right now. Leiter getting a little loose with his command again here. Part of the struggles of being a rookie, I suppose, or a young pitcher. Let's see, is there an expiring deal that would make sense for the Yankees? Quantrill to give him some innings. You don't want Alcantara, I'd imagine. Nobody else really fits. Tinoco doesn't do anything for you. If you're getting Schlitter in this deal, maybe you could convince them to give you Cal Quantrill instead of... he takes the spot of Marcus Stroman in the rotation. Strikeout for Leiter. He comes back and gets the K after going behind 3-1 on Baldwin. Fastball 99, top of the zone. I think that's going to be his strikeout pitch as he gets older. And then the kick change off of it, kind of going down. The rising fastball, and then the changeup that goes down. The slider is kind of his hit or miss pitch. But if he's got that fastball location and the changeup working, I think he's going to be very effective. Jesus Sanchez, maybe. But I like this deal already. And then if you go to the Yankees for one more piece, I would want LaGrange. That's not a bad deal. I'm going to go ahead and validate it and post it. So you get two starters. Quantrill is a short-term starter to take the place of Stroman. Yuri Perez probably takes the 3 spot in the rotation behind Rodon and Fried this year. Probably takes the 4 spot after Garrett Cole comes back, and then you have Luis Gil as a starter for as your 5 next year as well. That's a really strong rotation next year for the Yankees if they make this trade. But they don't usually like giving up their top-end pieces and quantity as well. Chances of this trade, I'd probably say less than 5%. But I wouldn't say it's out of the question. I think the easier piece would be Cabrera for the two teams, but this certainly would be the higher-end trade that they could do. There's the slider for Jack. That pitch was nasty. Yes, it was. Anthony, does Jack have that devastating 12-6 slider that his father had? His slider's more east to west. The kick changes his pitch that goes down. Hard hit ball by Harris into center, but right to Carter. Takes 6 steps over and retires him 1-2-3. Nice shutdown inning here for Leiter. They need him to go 6 today, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it. Rockies are bad. Well, they've had a nice stretch of games here like the Marlins have over the last 3-4 weeks. But yes, they're still a bad team. They're going to have days where they look as bad as they are. Yankees need to win this one here. Thank you for that like. Appreciate you. Let's go ahead and check in on the scoreboard once again. Trying to get it to update on its own here. There we go. All right, still 4-0 for the Diamondbacks, losing there. Rays at least scored against the Reds, making it interesting 2-1. Blue Jays still being shut out by the Detroit Tigers, hopefully getting back in the win column in Detroit. Orioles 4-1 over the Rockies. Royals still winning 4-0 over the Guardians. Astros still without a run on the board against the A's. They do have a runner on second, though. Nationals 7, Twins 2 in the 6th. Cubs 4, White Sox 1. Yankees 4, Phillies 3. Marlins 2, Brewers 1. Dodgers still in front of the Red Sox 3-1 or 3-2 now. Padres 7, Cardinals still being shut out. Mariners, Angels just about to get underway. Will Judge miss the Texas series next week? He will. We need the Astros to go on a losing streak. We swept the A's. A's sweep the Astros. Looking like it might happen. Looks like it. I wonder how long the starters for Atlanta stay in this game. Olsen, Riley, Acuna. If there's anybody in the chat, pound the strike zone. Hit the like button, please. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate you. Yeah, our viewers are kind of going all over the place. 1 minute it says we have like 40. The next second we have 25. Hall of Fame speeches Hall of Fame festivities still going on. So we'll have a lot more trade talk here in the next hour or two. Dunning looked good. Hope he does great for them. I agree. Been rooting for the guy since he was back with the Washington Nationals. Then the White Sox. Then the Rangers. And now the Braves. Tough strike there. Looking at the standings, you look how tight this wild card race is on the American League side. Yankees are up a game over the Red Sox for that final wild card spot. Rangers are only a half game behind that, so it's a game and a half between the Rangers and Yankees. Yankees better win today, otherwise that gap gets so close they could find themselves out of the playoff picture by Tuesday. Would Perez and Sanchez make sense for the Yankees instead of Perez and Cal? Not really. Sanchez has too much value for the Yankees to be able to get a deal that would make sense for them. I think the Perez deal already would be straining things for them. Red Sox take the lead. Uh-oh. Home run by Bregman. They need his bat, that's for sure. They've been an incredibly streaky team this year. You do need a Pirates win because the Dbacks are in my Giants division. I don't think you have to worry about the Diamondbacks. They're looking to sell here at the deadline. They aren't even looking to compete in the wild card at this point. There was some thought that Hazen, who had never sold before, was going to try to still win this year, and with the pieces he would get back. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So I think you're going to see the D-backs go by the wayside. Little chopper to third. Riley, nice play. Gets Garcia at first. 2 away. You picked up Bregman in fantasy. Gordon, welcome in. First time I think I've seen you in the chat. Appreciate you joining us. What would it cost for the Rangers to get Helsley away from the Cards? Any other relievers interest you? I don't think Helsley is overly likely. If I had to rank the relievers going to Texas, I'd probably put Helsley in that 5-6 range. But we can go ahead and show you what a trade would look like between the two teams. I think the most likely option for the Rangers is probably a Bednar. In your power ranking, where are the Mets ranked? I believe they're at 8. I think I got it up on the screen, actually. Let me see. Right now, they're at 7, actually. They flip-flopped the Yankees and Mets. Let's see, Peterson. Patient. Good. Didn't chase the one 3 feet outside, at least. It's the little things. To the Rangers. Takes a strike there. 2-2. His value is 3.8. If he was the closer that the Rangers went out there and tried to bring in, that was a good 2-strike approach, at least for Peterson. Still not exactly the most productive 3 at-bats in baseball history, but first at-bat did not look good for Peterson. Second one looked better. This one looked about the same as the last one. There are two teams that got a Bannon, and you took over last week. One team dropped Bregman, and I got him on waivers. That's a smart pickup there. Needed a better third base. He had Josh Smith. Smith had been struggling. I agree with you there. Okay. Now, what would the Rangers give up if Helsley was the guy? Again, I think they're looking starting pitching. I think they would like somebody closer to the big leagues, like Drake. But for Helsley, you're not getting Drake. I think Mitch Bratt might be the piece. And then a guy like Colton Curtis, a top 30 guy, or bullpen arm like Skylar Hales to round out the deal. Actually, I think that could do it. Hales could be in the Cardinal bullpen deadline next year. Bratt could be in the rotation in 2027 probably. Chances both those guys make the big leagues are slim, especially for Hales. Bratt, I think, is going to make a rotation somewhere at some point in his career. So for a couple of months of Helsley, I think that's about the right value. Mark, who would have thought Charlie Morton would be a trade chip? He certainly played better baseball over this since the end of May, but he has had one clunker since, but we'll see. Aaron Judge got hurt yesterday. Yes, we had a video come out about that yesterday. Actually, he got hurt on Tuesday, was a DH on Wednesday, had the off day on Thursday, played in the field on Friday and couldn't throw it into the infield. And then they went for tests after the game, and on Saturday, that's when it was announced that he had the flexor strain. We posted a video today kind of updating our story on that one. But Yankees just kind of been cursed all season. The Cole injury, Stanton, heel, and on their issues go. In the fifth, Leiter back out here. 61 pitches so far. Looks like he could comfortably get through the sixth as long as he doesn't run into too much trouble here. If you guys are new here, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. We'll be live with you guys here for another hour or so. Talk everything from trade deadline to Hall of Fame, games today. If you guys want us to go ahead and do a trade for you, send it in the chat. Be sure to join us every single night around 9:45, 10 o'clock as we'll break down all the latest from across Major League Baseball, especially all the trade talk leading up to the deadline. And then on trade deadline day, we'll be live at 8 o'clock in the morning till around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. Yes, I'll be talking with you guys live all day long, all 11 hours, right here at the Upside. The 1-2 here. Fastball up a little bit too high there. You can see he likes that fastball up for his strikeout pitch. I think he's got 5 strikeouts today. I think when he learns how to command that slider just a touch better, and that kick change, there's another strikeout. This one on that kick change. Fastball up, kick change down. That's strikeout number 6 for Leiter. I think it's strikeout number 6. Let me double check. Four. And why did they have 5? Anyway, I think it might have been their graphic. Albies next. Outside. But that could be your trade there. Helsley to the Rangers. Christopher, breaking news per your inside sources, released momentarily, Boston and Detroit finalizing a deal to acquire Bregman and Duran for McGonigal, Max Clark, and Javi Baez. Favorite team is the Rangers. I try not to hide those things. I know most national reporters don't like to admit they have a favorite team, but come on. Let's be realistic. I'm sure they root for all the players like they say they do, but you always had a childhood favorite team that you're pulling for just a little. Swing and a miss. Another fastball up gets the strikeout. Woo! Leiter looking good. But if that's true, Christopher, that would be a very interesting deal. Let's do that deal just to see what it would look like. I don't think Boston would do it. And it's not going to be completed right now, obviously. They ain't going to pull Bregman out of the game that he just took the lead on. But it's rare you see a trade like this between two playoff teams. But let's see what it would look like. You're saying Bregman and Duran. Value of 2. Okay. For Clark, McGonigal, and Baez. The negative value of Baez, I guess, being the ballast. The value is not bad, I suppose. Baez having a all-star year. Red Sox don't really have a fit for Clark. I think they have the same problem they did with Duran if they do this trade. McGonigal is not a bad option for the Red Sox, though. I do like that. And you're getting a bat in Javi Baez back, but you're taking on the money of Baez as well. Nice piece of hitting there by Allen. Nice job by Langford to cut that one off. Helsley and Arenado to the Rangers. Cardinals pay the contract, most of it. Let's see what a mock would look like for the fun, at least even if it doesn't make sense. I can do that one here in just a second. I just don't think this deal is going to happen, but interesting idea there, Christopher. Tapper foul. Okay, let's go ahead and clear this trade out. You're saying Cardinals again and Rangers? Arenado to the Rangers. Eek. Bounced that one in. Let's see, Helsley to the Rangers. We're looking cash in, probably 20 to the Rangers as well. Rangers give up what? -3. He ain't really getting much of anything at this point. You might be able to get honestly, none of these guys really fit. Maybe a Curry. Josh Trenadu. I mean, I wouldn't do that trade anyway. I wouldn't package Helsley in this deal, but that would be what a trade could look like. I have sources. My buddy's mistress works for the Fenway's janitorial department. All right. It's not a bad idea, though. Gallen's asking price just got a little higher. You think so? I mean, he gave up, what, 4 runs against Pittsburgh? In 6 innings? I'm not sure his price actually went up, though. Duran, Zavala, and Foscue slight overpay? Yeah. I don't think the Cardinals would want any piece of that deal, though. Zavala would be the only piece I think they would actually care for. That's why I was trying to do starting pitchers, because they want starting pitching more than anything else right now. Check out X and see if any rumors are happening at the moment. I don't think they'll part with either one of those either. Agree with you there, Christopher. Yeesh. Yuri Perez in the month of July. Club record ERA and WHIP. They've had some decent pitchers over the years. Jose Fernandez, may he rest in peace. Sandy Alcantara when he won a Cy Young. Josh Beckett, Dontrell Willis. They've had some really good starters. Was Kevin Brown there as well at one point? Do I think Tommy Pham gets moved? He's the modern day Johnny Gomes. I do think Tommy Pham does get moved. Probably somebody's fourth or fifth outfielder, a bench bat, right-handed hitter option. Kind of a low-cost option that I think will probably move on deadline day. Game is over there. Looks like the Tigers have opened it up a little bit now against the Blue Jays. They're good backbone in that one. They really needed a win in the worst way. Astros need to get some offense here. They're struggling as well. If the Rangers win, Astros lose, it's a 4-game difference. As Langford gets another hit here. Let me see the replay. Nice try by Allen. Bounces off his glove and rolls. He's having a tough game defensively. He's graded out as one of the best shortstops defensively for a while now. That's why he's in the lineup, but today's just not his day defensively. Aye! Langford is out by a mile. Dang. Murphy had him out by a mile. Just a great throw. I'm not sure what kind of jump Langford got, but yeah, he knew he was out. What a throw by Murphy, though. Let's go ahead and do a Sean Murphy trade, because I've heard a lot of rumors about that for I don't know, probably about 2 weeks now. I just still don't believe in the taking on that big of a contract unless for a catcher who's had injury issues, down performance last year as well, rather than say like a Riley. Yes, he just came off of injury, but he's got 7 years of control at a premium position that's not necessarily taxing on the body like the catcher spot is. Oh, not the Rays. Come on. Rangers. And clear all that out of there. Murphy. He is expendable, though, for the Braves. So if you're looking to get a deal done with them, that could be where you go. Not Austin Riley, excuse me. Where's Murphy? 11.2. Lower cost. So you could be looking... Carter, a big swing and a miss there. Dodd's looked good since he's come in. Round 11, they need controllable pitching more than anything else. I think Cole Drake would have to be in this deal. Santos has been injured, but I think he would be an interesting piece. None of those guys really inspire me to make the move here, though. So you could do Tiger, I suppose, further on away from the major leagues, but gets you at least in the ballpark. Maybe you give him an outfield piece for the future, having a down year in the minors, but at least gives you some value. Would you do that if you're the Rangers? I would lean towards no. Because he's not going to be in the lineup every day. If this was an everyday player in the lineup, I might be a lot more invested in it. But as a part-time catcher, splitting time with Higashioka, they're both right-handed. I'd rather choose something different. Young, hard-hit ball to center, but this one's going to die in front of the warning track. And we go to the 6th. Rosario, Harris, Foscue for Murphy. Overpay, but I don't care. Rosario is an overpay. I like that one, Heel. Murphy's not a bad option, but if I'm taking on that money, that commitment, I'm looking for a bigger impact than Murphy here. Let's do a unique 3-team deal. Kind of revisit the idea we had, about a week ago. But this time, let's not include Langford in it. So I'm going to pull up the Marlins. I'm going to pull up the Braves. I'm going to pull up the Rangers as well. All right, so Cabrera obviously goes to the Braves in this deal. Gives them that controllable starter they've been needing. They're the team that needs starting pitching right now. Out of all the contending teams or teams that are hoping to contend, they're the team that needs it the most right now. So, and he's a lot cheaper than Yuri Perez. Okay? So you get Cabrera. 3 years left of control. What do the Braves give up? Would they be willing to give up Austin Riley? A Matt Olson? I think there's a world where they could give up Olson in this trade. They finally corrected his value. They had it down to 9.9 for some reason. They got it back up to 16.5. Murphy, top 5 catcher in MLB. Yeah, he's rebounded very nicely. I'm not saying he's not a good catcher, but for a part-time player, I'm not giving up that return. And catchers all are part-time nowadays. Rangers make them a little bit more useful, but it's still a catcher. And the Rangers have 2 decent ones without paying him $15 million. Here's Olson. Speaking of a trade for Olson, tough break for Olson. Gets the curveball off the outside corner and low, called for a strike. That's tough. Hitting .263, 18 home runs, 65 RBIs. Bounces that one in. This one is, to be clear, is not called a strike by Laz Diaz. Thank you guys for joining us. Got about 35 of you guys with us right now. If you guys haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button down at the bottom. That thumbs up as well. Swing and a miss. Nice fastball, top of the zone again by Leiter. He's really got that pitch dialed in. I'm guessing we see the kick change low and away here. Or are they going low and in? They go slider in. So they go soft in. Do they go hard away? Fastball up and away. Hard to get top 5 catcher with 25 homer pop. True, but catcher is not an offensive position anymore, and I'm not sure Murphy is still going to be the same hitter next year. We've entered that area of his career where when he's on the field, he's usually going to be good. Would I argue he's better than Higashioka and Heim? Yes. Would I say he's worth the investment and the money that you'd have to do so? I'm on the fence, depending on what the return would be. If it's Rosario, I lean no. You just need a good defensive catcher nowadays. That way they can hit. Wife can cook. It's great. But if she can bake a dessert, that's a bonus. Defensive catchers, yes. Those are a dime a dozen nowadays. Somebody who can call a really good game. That's really what managers are looking for first. And if you have a hit tool with it, all the better. But they're primarily looking to see if you can handle things defensively and handle a pitching staff. 2-2 here. This fastball's a little bit too high. Goes 3-2 here on Olsen. Acuna Jr. next. Swing and a miss by Olsen. Gets that fastball up and working there. Rosario and Jock for Murphy. Atlanta's not taking back Jock, that's for sure. They don't want to take back any bad salary. They're already limited financially. That's why they haven't been able to get any pitchers on the free agent market the way they would like. Now, Rosario, they would love that piece. Now, if it's straight up Rosario for Murphy, that's closer, but I would still lean no. 7 strikeouts for Leiter. Going for a career high 8 in this game once again. Check swing. That one looked like it might have touched the zone, though. That was close. 1-0, though. 307, 13 home runs in a very limited time. On the big league roster for the Braves. This fastball misses 2-0. Let's say you traded for the Rangers. Say you did do Walcott here to the Marlins, right? Swing and a miss. Nice slider at the bottom of the zone. 2-1. So 2-1. Misses inside. 3-1. Not the worst thing here in the world to walk Acuna, but again, then a base stealer on the base paths in front of Baldwin, in front of Riley, and then Murphy. Atlanta's got a good lineup. They've struggled to produce, but they still got a good lineup. Hard hit but foul, and Acuna almost falls over backwards. I don't think there's any way Acuna moves at the deadline. But I don't think we're far away from an Acuna deal if there is one to be made. Maybe in the offseason, maybe next offseason. Foul again. Going slider here. Thinking we're going to go fastball top of the zone again here for the strikeout. Let's see. Fastball up, but misses quite a bit. Walks Acuna. All right, so let's round out this trade for the Rangers. If you're giving up Walcott, you want a major league impact piece this year. Braves say they give you Olsen. If they gave you Murphy in this deal as well, and you get White out of it, Rangers trade Heim to the Braves. Gets you close. I think the Rangers are pretty much there with the value they're getting for Walcott. I think they'd have to give up smaller pieces here and there to round out the deal. Braves. Who do they have that's expiring? I can't remember. Iglesias, no. Zuna, no. Pierce Johnson, no. Montero, heck no. Do you want to bring back Dane Dunning as a depth option in the minors? No. None of those guys make sense, really. I had said surplus. There we go. Albies, you're not getting him. Dylan Lee to help out in the bullpen. What else do the Marlins have that they could do? Oh yeah, I forgot about Mayer. That would make it there for the Rangers. Now the Rangers finish off this deal by giving up, say, I don't know, Bratt, probably to the Marlins. No, to the Braves. That would work for them. They give up Murphy, Olsen. They get Cabrera, Heim, and Bratt. It's not bad. As Baldwin pops this one up out foul territory on third base side for the second out. Marlins, I think, would need one more piece, though. Something they could hang their hat on for the future. Osuna makes some sense. From the Rangers. That's pretty close. Rangers get throw in one more piece to the Braves just to kind of finish off this deal. Luis Valdez, something like that. Fair trade. Let's take a look. So the Rangers give up Walcott, Osuna, Heim, and Bratt. 4 pieces. Leiter gets through the 6th. That's exactly what he needed to do today. And in this deal, you get 2 players immediately go onto your roster. Murphy takes the place of Heim as a right-handed bat. Gives you that right-handed bench bat that you're looking for. Doesn't really give you a righty-lefty split at catcher, but whatever. Olsen gives you a better lefty hitter than Jonah Heim. And he plays every day at first base, better than Jake Berger. Berger becomes expendable. I'd even see if you could try to flip Berger and maybe like a Cole Drake for Yandy Diaz. He could be your DH along with Jock Peterson. Peterson could be your bench bat primarily. And then hopefully in the offseason he has a better offseason and comes out of the gate swinging well for Texas. But we're talking about 2025, winning in 2025. Murphy's having a good year this year, so capitalize on it now. And you're getting a top pitching prospect in return for giving up a top 5 prospect in the entire game. Where do those 2 guys rank in the top 100 total? Langford is number 4 in the sport. Meanwhile, Thomas White is 22. I'd say that's about the class of prospect he should be in. I think pretty much Eldridge up is in another class. Then I'd say probably Clark up is in another class from there. With a bunch of these guys getting close to graduating. Thomas White just learning at Double-A right now. You love the deal for Texas, Ethan? First time in Leiter's career, throw 100 pitches. He's starting to look like Sonny Gray, Roy Oswalt comp that I've always had on him. I like the Sonny Gray comp, kind of the similar size. They kind of deliver the ball very similarly, too. Roy Oswalt, to me, was a different animal. But I do like Sonny Gray. I like that comp. Let's see here. Heim, swing and a miss. Goes around on the slider in the dirt. What do you guys think? If you're the Braves, would you do this deal? You give up Murphy and Olson to the Rangers. That's all you're giving up. You get a number 2 starter behind Sale, I'd imagine, in Cabrera. In a good rotation, he's probably number 3. Heim takes over for Murphy behind the plate. Mitch Bratt for the future, and you get another future asset in Valdez. Bratt, obviously, with a much brighter future. Honestly, I kind of like the deal. What do they do at first base would become a question. Maybe put Berger in this deal. That'd be an option. Dodd has pitched really well today. He should get the game ball for the Braves, that's for sure. Braves in a tough spot. Are your players declining or bad season? You think a bad season? Well, that would make 2 bad years in a row offensively now. And I do think there's some decline with Murphy coming. We saw it last year with the injury. You get out in front of it with an older catcher with a $15 million salary signed for 4 more years. Olsen, I think, will be just fine. Albies has had some issues with productivity each of the last couple of years. Harris certainly has since he was a rookie. Recently, we're talking the last 3 weeks, Harris has looked a lot better. Riley's numbers down. I think his are purely bad season. Acuna numbers are pretty much right where they've always been. But to me, the bigger issue for the Braves is where's your pitching? You can say bad season for the lineup all you want, but where's the pitching? Chris Sale is injured, sure, but you still got Strider. And yet you're still trotting out guys like Grant Holmes, who's having a nice year, but he just landed on the injured list before today's game as well. And beyond him, you don't really have much in the pen. That's why you make the trade for Dane Dunning just 3 or 4 days ago, because you're so deprived of talent on the pitching end right now, or at least MLB-ready pitching, that you bring in Dane Dunning because you're light on starting pitching. Dunning right now, more of a depth option for them, long reliever. But they're calling up Didier Fuentes, who's a good prospect for them, but he's nowhere near MLB ready. They need pitching. I think the Braves underestimated Fried and Morton not re-signing with them. To a certain extent, I'll agree with you there, but even still, Fried, I think they knew the writing was on the wall. The price was going to be out of their budget. Morton, I think they thought they had the best chance to bring him back. They just wanted him back at their number, and they thought eventually he would cave, but he did not. But even then, if they brought back Morton, that does not solve their long-term need of pitching at first base. Yikes. That was a bad toss. Seager up with 1 on. Let's see if he can continue his great start to the season, or great start to the second half anyway. He continued his on-base streak with a walk earlier. Fouls off a pitch outside of the zone. Breaking news, Rangers traded for Brett Boone, and a month later the Rangers running wild. They didn't trade for Brett Boone, they signed him anyway, but I would have loved Brett Boone back in the day. I'd love Brett Boone on this team if he was actually, you take in the 2020, or the 2001, 2002 version, 2003, 2004 version of Brett Boone. I'd take him on this roster right now. To me, he would be kind of the Josh Smith in this role, except a lot better power. Obviously, for back in that day and age. Swing and a miss by Seager. Way out in front on the cutter. Now, for the Marlins, are you getting enough for what your talent that you're giving up? Walcott, you get a chance at a star. Osuna takes the spot in the outfield right now. Seager grounds 1 to shortstop, and they get the easy out at first. Smart decision there. Nice base running there by Josh Smith. I know. I got you there, Ethan. All right. Be live for a little bit longer here. Waiting until we see some actual trade discussions with the Hall of Fame kind of ceremonies wrapping up here soon. Or the Hall of Fame, everything really. Is Brett Boone in the dugout liking pictures? I don't know. The game is out of hand, I will say that. Yeah, that's Billy Wagner. Obstacles aren't a roadblock, they're a stepping stone. I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't left-handed, I wasn't supposed to be here. True. He had a hell of a career. Dan Around originally put that Braves team together, who is now, ironically, the Astros GM, and the Braves still have that mindset that we aren't unloading a big contract, especially if it ain't bad for us. I'll agree with you there. I think it'd be hard to convince them to do it. But for a controllable starter, at a certain point you just got to realize, starting pitching, if you don't have it, you're nowhere. You can have the best lineup all day long, but if you don't at least have league average pitching, you're not winning the series. You're not doing much in the playoffs. Not much news as we wait for the Hall of Fame festivities to end. Appreciate you guys enjoying some baseball with us today. Aaron Boone seems like the type of guy to watch TikToks during the middle innings. You mean Brett Boone or Aaron? Aaron's the Yankee manager. He's always on the top step. Brett is either at the top step whenever they're hitting, or when they're pitching, he's usually, ouch, or when they're pitching anyway, he's usually sitting on the bench waiting for the next half inning. Tiger losing streak is over. Good news for them. They're finally getting somewhere. Let's check on the scores real quick. Rays drop another one. They're down to 500 now. They're definitely sell territory. Dbacks obviously getting blanked. They've already started selling. Orioles win, but they're also selling. So 3 sellers have already been confirmed there. That already games go final. Reds get another win as they try to close the gap on that NL wildcard. Good for them. Mariners, Angels scoreless. Padres 8. Cardinals now on the board with a couple. Red Sox trying to tack on a couple more runs there. 4-3 against the Dodgers in the 7th. Cubs 5, White Sox 1. Marlins 2, Brewers 1 still. Still the same, Nationals and Twins. Yankees still winning, 4-3. Let's check out the 9th there. You think Aaron? I don't really see him that way because he's, like I said, he's usually on that top step, 1 foot, almost on the field, ready to sprint onto the field every time. See if Simeon can drive in a run here. Williams is on for the save. It'll be Castellanos, Realmuto, and Kemp. 2 home runs on the day for Kemp. Both of them off of Rodon. Otto Kemp, 25-year-old. Interesting. Interesting. Swing and a miss. We go to the 7th. 8-1, Rangers in front. Let me update the standings. You can see the division races. Right now, again, the results hold. Astros, if they lose, it's going to be very close in the NL West, or excuse me, the AL West. Wild card. The wild card is already really close. Thank you for that like. Appreciate that. Oh and 2 on Castellanos. Has a home run in the game. Let's see if they can tie it. This would be a big win for the Yankees with Aaron Judge going on the IL. They can't afford to spoil games like this. We got to take advantage of these ones that are winnable. Strikeout for Castellanos on a day where I believe Zach Wheeler started for them. Goes 5 2/3, gives up 4 runs, 8 strikeouts. Yankees did a nice job against him, though, getting the 4. Real Muto has been one of the hotter bats in baseball since the All-Star break. Leiter, 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Gives way to Caleb Bosley. Today is Triple H's birthday, 56. My favorite wrestler of all time. Happy birthday to the game. Nice hit by Harris off the end of the bat. Flies out to center. Dang. Phillies down to their final out. Yankees are 14 and 18 in 1-run games. Not horrible. Kemp, who has a couple of homers today. If they wanted to go to the bench, who do they even have? Kepler. I'd rather leave Kemp in this spot here. Call the strike off the plate. That sucks. Looks like the Yankees are going to get the win here. Favorite wrestler nobody talks about, Jeff Hardy. Hell of a wrestler, not a great human being. With all the DUIs, etc. Double play for the Rangers there. He was one of my favorites, especially back in 2009. I remember his jumping off of the stanchion like 20 feet in the air on top of Randy Orton. That was incredible. 2 strikes. Phillies down to their final strike here. Imagine the Rangers are hoping to get a couple innings out of Bosley here and then maybe Cole Winn for the 9th. Let their premium arms get the day off. Last thing I want to see is Armstrong up today. I don't want to see Milner up today. I don't want to see Garcia if I'm the Rangers. I want Bosley to go 2, and I want Winn to go to get the last one. Unless Bosley's going well, then you might give him all 3. Rolls over it to first. Bosley to cover. Gets the job done. 1 inning done. Four 3 in the top of the 9th. Yankees looking to close out the Phillies. The 2-2 from Williams. Ball. 3-2. Randy Orton is awesome. My favorite is a tie between The Rock and Eddie. Edge is one of my favorites of all time. Today, my favorite would probably be Roman's got to be up there, I suppose. Is that a fly ball to left that we just saw? Strikes out on a foul tip. Okay. End of the game. Yankees win. They hold off their decline a little bit longer here, especially with Aaron Judge out. Nice job for the Yanks. Who do they play next? Let's look at the Yankees schedule. They got the Rays coming up for 4. That'll be helpful with the Rays especially selling, and they're at home. Then they get the Marlins. Marlins are playing really well, but they'll get them after the deadline. The Rangers will be after them, so they got a chance here to at least weather the storm. Let's look at our scores again. The A's have now extended their lead 7-0 over the Astros. Yikes. Let's look at the scoring in this one. Andujar homers. We had a Langeliers homer, sacrifice fly, Colby Thomas double that allowed Wins to score, and then a Schumann 2-run single, and then another single to score another run. Soderstrom has come in to play first base for Andujar. Interesting. No Kurtz. I guess they're giving Kurtz the day off. Soderstrom flies out there, 2 away. Original Upside Sports Network. I like that. Appreciate you. Looks like the A's are going to take this one from Houston. They definitely have a heck of an offense. I still think Mason Miller is very likely to move. I think the Mets, Phillies, Rangers, Yankees, and Cubs. I put the Tigers on the periphery of that discussion as the most likely fits. Dodgers, I think, will be looking even bigger game hunting, like Clase. See if they can pry him out of the Guardians. They have the prospects to do it. The question is, will the Guardians give him up? See here, see if any other scores have really changed. White Sox coming back a little bit on the Cubs, 5-4 now. Brewers have tied it against the Marlins. Dodgers looking to come back against the Red Sox here. Rojas looks like he might have hurt himself. Aroldis Chapman is coming on for Jordan Hicks. So they're looking for a 5-out save from Aroldis Chapman. That's a little scary. I know Chapman's been really good this year and has been able to handle it in the past, these multi-inning saves. But that's a big ask at this point in his career. Malcolm, welcome in. Do you believe that around the trade deadline players don't play at their peak when it's a lot going on in these few weeks? I think they listen to the noise to some degree, absolutely. But do I think it impacts their play as much as some people think it, as much as some think it does? No. I think they'll be the odd player that's affected, but I don't think by and large a lot of the players are playing less than what they would if they didn't have those rumors behind them. I think there's probably only, I don't know, what Joey Gallo comes to mind as a player who was really affected by it in years past. But usually it's only like 1 or 2 players that really get affected by it every year. Should have re-signed Chapman. maybe. I think he'd be a great signing this year. Welcome in, Raymond. Appreciate you joining us. Sugano pitched well today. What team do you think he adds him? Royals, to me, make some sense. Low-cost option for them to help add pitching now that Bubic is out and on the injured list with left shoulder discomfort. Peterson pops up this first pitch. Sky high to Riley at third. Infield fly in effect. It is his first game back. But still, no thank you. I think players are just naturally really tired around this time. That's why they call it the dog days of summer. August is going to be even worse. Nice pitch there by Stratton against Langford in the Rangers game. Big inning here, though, for the Dodgers. They got to scratch across a run. They got Hernandez, their 3-hole hitter, up, followed by Freeman and Pages. If they can get a double in the gap, they take the lead here. Arif, welcome in. What will the Blue Jays do at the deadline? I'll say they add a bullpen arm for sure. My guess is probably a lower cost option. Helsley makes some sense. Middle relief, of course, is everybody's easy target at the deadline. The biggest thing I think they'll add is a starting pitcher, as Langford strikes out on 3 pitches. But I'll say they get one of Kelly or Gallen from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And the other one ends up in New York. Whether it's with the Mets or Yankees, take your pick. I'd say first pick would probably be Kelly if you're going for one of those options. Gallen might have the better ceiling, but he's not pitching well this year. Gave up 4 today against Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh played well against Detroit, but they're not a good team. 3-1 here to Hernandez. Really don't want to load the bases with Freeman coming up. Or they got Jordan Hicks coming on for Aroldis Chapman. What? I must have read that wrong. Interesting. Huh. I must have read that wrong. Will Bichette re-sign or leave? I'm going to guess he ends up staying in Toronto. Uh-oh. Did they get the double play to end the inning? Lines out to second. Okay. It'll be up to Freddie Freeman. Got a bunch of games on all around. Carter fouls one off. Bichette is a goner in your opinion? If it's finance-based and somebody completely outbids the Toronto Blue Jays, I could see it. But I don't see anybody completely blowing the Blue Jays out of the water. I think the Blue Jays will be right there with probably the best offer on the table for him. Raymond, you think Sir Anthony Dominguez is getting traded to the Blue Jays? I think he gets traded. I'm not sure it's to the Blue Jays, though. But I do like Sir Anthony Dominguez as kind of a 7th inning option for a lot of teams here at the deadline. Has pitched in high leverage situations for a long, long time. Yankees looking for a new shortstop over Volpe? I think it's still too early to make that decision. He's still a very young player. Okay, so they're challenging something. I'm guessing they tried to double off somebody. And it looks like they are going to win the challenge based on everybody coming off the field. Yep. Unassisted double play. Kim out at second. Well, there goes the Dodgers threat in the 8th inning. Not good. Astros looking to avoid the shutout against the A's. Doesn't look like any other scores have changed. Padres have added a run. 9-2 against the Cardinals now. Still scoreless, Seattle versus the Angels. Mariners have won the season series against the Rangers already. So even if the Mariners lose tonight and they go an even tie record-wise with the Rangers, they would still hold that wild card spot. Welcome in, Brianna. Been a minute since I've seen you say Phillies won. All right, we'll be back live this evening around 9:45. Hall of Fame discussion kind of wrapping up right now. We're going to go ahead and make some dinner here in the next hour or so. Watch some Sunday Night Baseball with the missus. And we'll be back live around 9:45 this evening. So be sure to join us for our live then. Thank you guys so much for having some fun with me, talking some baseball this afternoon. And we'll get into some more trade talk this evening. Hopefully we'll have some trades to actually discuss. Got a video that just came out as well, so if you guys want to check that one out as well. So wanted to get out some new information for you guys for Aaron Judge, for the Rangers as well. Got a new one as well. But if you guys want to check those out over the next couple hours until we are live again this evening, 9:45, join us then. Appreciate you guys spending the afternoon with me. We'll see you guys later this evening. Take care, everybody.